Welcome one all to another Birds Edition of the Purple Rain podcast. We finally now know the draft order. I know, so how long have we been waiting for that now? I know. Well, they did say that going into the expansion draft, we were going to find out that order till after the expansion draft, which probably was wise. But the amount of speculation it's caused. I mean, even for us three. Yeah, because even we speculated about when could we maybe get that potential draft order out. And we were thinking, well, how are they going to do it? Because we've known now since the end of the regular season that the Sirens will have the goal plan. They will be going first again. We've known that now since the end of the season. The question is, what do you do with the fact that you've now got Vancouver and Seattle joining as expansion teams? What do? Do you make them go second and third? Well, that's what you were thinking. You were thinking that maybe Vancouver and Seattle should go second and third, and whoever didn't get to pick first expansion drafts, that would have been Seattle, should get second pick and Vancouver third pick. Well, I did think that was a good suggestion, but then, obviously, as the expansion process got underway, and people were getting really angry about it, and fiery about it, I did see the opinion piece. I can't remember if it was before or after the expansion draft, where somebody did a really great opinion piece saying that they said that maybe the inaugural 60 should draft before the expansion teams, and I was starting to think, yeah, maybe that might be for the best. And of course, that is what we got. So over the weekend, we got the details about the draft order. We got full details about the whole draft as a whole, really, so I'll go through that now, and then I will go through draft order, which is what we're here to do today. So, the PWHL announced broadcast details and order of selection for the 2025 draft. So, the PWHL 2025 Entry Draft will take place on the 24th of June at 7 PM Eastern. With full coverage on the PWHL YouTube channel. And it's going to be hosted by So before coverage will be on the PWHL YouTube channel, and it'll be hosted by Kenzie Lalonde and Cheryl Pounder, who of course obviously did the World Cup finals this year. Of course, doing that. And on the floor will be Rob Pizzo on the draft floor, who of course was on ice level for the whole of the World Cup playoffs this year, not just our Frost semi-final like it was last year. Yeah. So there you go. So that is this time next week. So we're recording this a week before the draft takes place. We are. We're recording it, so this next week we will be settling down for the draft. Will it be a bumper as last year was? Who knows? Yeah. There's going to be a fan fest there in Ottawa this year. Yep, fans are invited to a special PWHL draft fan fest at Hard Rock Hotel and Casino beginning at 3 PM Eastern on draft day. And the free event will include DJ, live entertainment, merchandise, kiosks, food trucks, and interactive sponsor activities. And fans will also have the opportunity to welcome players, prospects, and special guests as they arrive on the purple carpet, beginning at 5:30 PM Eastern. Okay, So before we get to the draft, I was going to go previously real quickly, and that is roster. That is roster moves, and that is how, because right now the free agency has technically opened, and all 8 teams are permitted to sign players on expiring contracts and complete trades beginning on Monday, June 16th. That's yesterday at 9 AM Eastern, and it's going to be the busy trade window so far. Trades may include 2025 PWHL draft picks. And then following the draft, the signing window period will pause on Friday, June 27th. That's day 1 of LA hosting the AHL draft, is it? Yes, yeah, okay. So I'll pause at 2 PM Eastern on June 27th. And it will reopen again on the 8th of July at 9 AM Eastern. Yeah, but we are now in the thick of the signing window, but it's really free agency. Right, let's get to why we're here today, and that's to go through the order of selection. So there's a lot of question marks about what was going to happen, especially with the whole course. We've got New York coming to goal plan, got 2 expansion teams on the horizon. What do you do? Well, we now know what is going to happen. So I'm going to go through it to you now, and then we'll get our thoughts on it afterwards. So, the order of selection for the first round. Well, what about 3G is for the first round. So the order of selection for the first round of the 25 PWHL draft is as follows. With the first overall pick, the New York Sirens as winners of the gold plan for a 2nd consecutive year in a row. Do you know what I was so looking forward to about with expansion now? Well, a more competitive gold plan. Yes, a more competitive gold plan. So, because hopefully, going into next year's playoff races will tighten up a bit more, and teams will be mathematically loaded quicker than it has been. So, yes, hopefully, yes. It'll still be between New York and York. Maybe now the Sceptres as well. Oh, lady! Tell me I'm right. Try and tell me I'm wrong. With what they've done. Or I think Ottawa might be throwing the conversation out. No, Pluto! They have lost so much now. Even during free agency, I'm not sure we can really say Ottawa's now 1-1. Oh, for God's sake! Don't go that route. Right. So the first overall pick goes to the Sirens as virtue of being the gold plan winners. The second overall pick will go to the Boston Fleet as the upper non-playoff team. The third overall pick goes to the Toronto Sceptres as they were the lowest ranked playoff semi-finalists. It's basically just a polite way of saying that you got eliminated before Montreal. So no prize against who's got the 4th pick. The 4th overall pick goes to the Montreal Victoire as the highest ranked playoff semi-finalists. The 5th overall pick goes to the Ottawa Charge as the PWHL finalists. Well, runners up eventually. The 6th overall pick goes to your Minnesota Frost as PWHL World Cup champions for the 2nd consecutive year in a row. The 7th overall pick will go to PWHL Vancouver, and the 8th overall pick will go to PWHL Seattle. That is for round 1. So how did we get to be Vancouver here? Well, I'm about to reveal that to you guys. A random draw determined the first round order selection between the 2 expansion teams. Right, so that's 2 back draws that Seattle's lost. What's Megan Teller got to do to get lucky? She got Haya Bilka and Harry Nye. I think she's fine. And Alex Carpenter. I think she's fine. She's probably feel like she's the cat that's got the creek. Everyone's talking about Seattle right now, not about Vancouver. Yeah, but still, that's 2 draws they've lost in a row. Yeah, well, I don't think they're bothered. I don't think they're bothered either. Right, so what I just read to you is the first round. The rest of the rounds is as follows, okay? So, for the inaugural 6 teams, their positions are locked in for every single round of the 25 Entry Draft. Hold it, Fido! Hold it, Fido! I just need to finish this reading, that you can go, that you can let rip. And mouth off, yes. Yeah, so inaugural 6 teams, their positions are locked in. For Vancouver and Seattle, they will alternate between picking in the 7th and 8th slot. So for rounds 1, 3, and 5, Vancouver will pick 7th, Seattle will pick 8th. For rounds 2, 4, and 6, Seattle will pick 7th, Vancouver will pick 8th. Yes, you forgot to mention that this year there is one less round than it was last year. Last year there were 7 rounds between the inaugural 6 teams. This year it is 6 rounds between 8 teams. I'm not sure I like that, because I think when we saw the eligibility list back in May, when we were in Philly, there's definitely enough there to hold 7 rounds. Yeah, I agree. Right, I'm now gonna. So yeah, so that is all the. I know. I know you have to laugh. Plus, it's the heat. It's the heat now. We are recording now in the thick of the summer weather, so some of us might not be as on fine form in the in the workstation as you think. Anyway, right. Did you want to put finish that before I went all flopper? He's worse. I know he's worse, but there's that. No. So should we just go for thoughts opinions? Yeah. I'll let you two fire off, and then I will try. Because I remember when I announced that over the weekend, where we're out of the weekend, you two kind of just about complete, just like, we're going to be picking 6 for every single round. We're going to go 6. Yeah. It's just, and especially given how we lost big players in the expansion process. We lost Claire Thompson. Let's see if we can name them more, boys and girls. So that's 1. We lost Sophie Jakes. We lost Brooke McQuigg. And we lost Denise Kazova. All 4. He's named up. Yeah. And all to Vancouver. Yeah. Does that show how much respect Vancouver's got for us? Or just more, I'm going to literally just burn the defending champions roster alive? Probably a bit of both, George, to be honest. Yeah. But it's like, so the fact that we've now lost key defenders who we need to replenish in the draft, the fact we're going to go 6, I just don't like it. I know. But then again, Montreal ended up being league champions this year, despite the fact that they had to pick 5th in that had to pick 5th in every single round last year. Well, Montreal's picks last year was a complete scattergraph. It was all over the place, and it's like when they go for the shock factor or something. They worked. I know, right? That's why I thought was so crazy about it. It's like how we're 1 year on, and it's worked. Yeah, it worked. Got them league champions, just not playoff victories though. Oh. Oh, Pluto! Right, I'm not wrong. I'm not. Even Captain Clutch has admitted that they need to look in the mirror. She did. So, look, like I remember this time last year, I was trying to pick our jaws off the floor every time Montreal made a pick. It was like, what are you doing? But it worked. Yeah. Yeah, but the fact that obviously we had an expansion draft and everyone's lost big, everyone's going to be fighting to try replenish what they've lost. Yeah. And for us, that is going to be defenders, particularly on the blue line, because we lost 2 big impacts on our blue line in Claire Thompson and Sophie Jakes. So, the blue lines are going to need to bolster up going into year 3, especially if Seattle and Vancouver prove to be as strongly competitive as everyone fears they're going to be. Particularly with Seattle. Yeah. Yeah. What if it was the chaos? What if this was not expansion year? Would you still be feeling the same? Well, I'd feel a bit better about it because I would be going into this knowing I don't need to try and replace what I've lost. I just need to bolster up my roster like we did last year. I think what's interesting about last year's draft was how every team kind of bolstered up their rosters. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like somebody needs to try and target a particular type of player. Everyone just worked out what they need to improve their rosters going into year 2 and did it. Which kind of makes this expansion process all the more harsher. Yeah, especially how a lot of the picks that were made in last year's draft in Minnesota have now gone to either Seattle or Vancouver. And that is something you might want to look into for the next expansion draft, which would be to are we going to do an episode on that? Yeah. Okay, right, I'll save the thought. Then. We can say that and go further. Right, I think maybe the next future expansions you should not be allowed to take draft picks from the previous year's draft. So any draft picks this year should not be allowed to go up for grabs. I know that would have made the pool protection a little more harder, but at least teams will still have really decent rookies that could then further themselves going forward into year 3. But I just Lady, we've had Pluto. What do you make of the fact of this? I have to concur with my partner. I don't like the fact that we are now going to be basically drafting very late in the draft for every round. Because essentially, we are the last of the inaugural 16s to get to make a selection. And knowing how hotly contested this draft is going to be this time next week, it's going to be so hard to watch other teams make these picks and go, oh, that could be a really good player for us, and then we're kind of left with what's there. Now, of course, it is not like the AHL, where you look at lower down and think, really? You're drafting that? There are a lot of very good draft picks available. And let's not forget who got the game winner in triple overtime in Game 3. Kano, who was a 7th rounder and was our final selection that we made in last year's draft. Yeah. But I think that shows how much depth our roster had. Yeah. So if you have a roster like Minnesota that's got a lot of depth, then you can rely on secondary scoring like that to come into play. But if you're not that kind of roster, then it becomes a bit of a struggle. Yeah. But I know because a lot of people look at the later rounds of the NHL draft and think, really, you're going to take that person? Yeah. Well, of course, the PHL is completely different because literally it's more of an equal playing field. You know, some people go, oh, well, they were picked late in the draft, they're not going to be much use. Well, they actually ask you to think again. Yeah. Especially as now we are at 8. Yeah, it means that really, it doesn't matter where you pick in the draft, you're going to get a decent prospect. Yeah. Who could then potentially lit lamp and light up the league. Yeah. So, no, we're not in the AHL region just that we're thinking, oh, really? They're being picked that late? Okay, well, yeah. Plus, we could see trades get made. We know that teams can trade draft picks. We did see one of those happen last year. I can't remember what was the draft, but I believe it was between the Big 2 and the Fleet. Yeah, So it's possible we could maybe see some of that go on the draft floor next week, especially with 8 teams in the mix. It could be interesting. But but this is the thing I was trying to think. What would we have to give to other teams higher for the draft floor? So like say the Sirens or the Charge. What could we give them to then take those picks further? I don't know. Exactly, that's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, the fact that they can trade draft picks is good, but right now in this league, no one's really got any leverage they can use to get higher up the draft order, like how in the NHL you can do that, because in the NHL you've got more leverage to play with than the PHL. What did you make of it when you saw this? Well, initially I was a bit shocked. That was all the good idea, because I did think Vancouver Seattle was maybe going to be put higher, but given how the reaction has not been great, it kind of made sense that, and this was more the right thing to do. But the fact that they've gone for playoff standings this year compared to last year, it was league standings. Because last year it was done reverse order of league standings. So that meant, right, just remember now. So after the Sirens, who were the gold point winners, you had Charge for the 2nd pick. Yeah. We had the 3rd pick because we were 4th for the league. The Fleet got the 4th pick. The Victoire the 5th pick, and the Sceptres, who were last year's league champions, had the 6th pick. Well remembered. Oh, is that right? That was right. That was the order last year. Wow. No. I actually think this year it's better because I actually would prefer, if this is the way forward, I would prefer to do it based on playoff standings rather than league standings. Because that's how it's done in the NHL. In the NHL, it's the first 16 picks go to the 16 teams that did not make the playoffs, and then after that, it then goes to how each team finished in the playoffs. And the two Stanley Cup finalists, so this year that is the Panthers and the Oilers, would get the last two picks. Unless trades have been made. Because, like, how this year, George, you've got Dallas's pick. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've got two picks in the first round. I've got the second overall pick, which we found out after the draft lottery, when the Islanders won that. It's the resource still running around like the cat that's got the cream. Yeah, don't blame him. It's one of our third Eastern members of the pack. But a lot of the pack teams didn't do too badly this year. They're all high up in the first round. You got Sirens with the Islanders, then you got me, then Reese Pascal for the Bruins, and Hap for the Flyers. Then, yeah. I think the Flyers and Bruins picked back-to-back out in the draft. They do. Yeah, they do. So our pack's gone very, very well so far for the first round of this year's draft. We're the only ones that will be picking late in that first round, because obviously... Yeah, but I don't like how we've got Dallas's pick. I think it was part of the Granlund trade we made before Four Nations. I don't like it. If I was Mike Greer, I would trade that pick to go higher up, like how we did it with last year. Because last year we had a lower pick and we traded it with Buffalo to go up higher, and it's kind of paid off. So I just wanted to see, with what less than a week to go, who could maybe be offered potentially to go higher up. Yeah, I don't like that pick. Yeah, so I actually prefer it to be this way, especially because I know that we're not going to be World Cup champions every year. We are not going to be World Cup champions forever. I mean, it's great to be the defending champions, but in the back of my mind, I know that we're not going to be that every single year. So I would not have a problem with it being done based on playoff standings, as opposed to league standings, because I think with playoff standings, it's a more fair chance, particularly the teams who did not get to the playoffs. It gives them a better chance to draft well, to have a chance to compete for the playoffs. Yeah. So, I don't mind it. Plus, I think we did kind of submit to the fact that probably it's going to be a long time yet before we get to make the first overall selection again. Yeah. Let's face it, it's going to be a very long time before Minnesota gets to make another first round pick, first overall draft pick. It's going to be a long time before that happens again, okay? I think we're fine with that. Yeah. I try back. Yeah, let's make the most of this competitive roster we've got it and appreciate it. And not do what a lot of Sharks fans have done over the years, which is basically take our glory days for granted. I don't think we've done that, but I know a lot of our broadcasters are trying to paint that. Whenever Brody does interviews with some of the Sharks media players, he always says, "Oh, we sort of take those days." Well, I was like, I'm not sure we did, Brody. There again, I won't. There again, he's a living legend, so I won't question him. But yeah, we're making the most of this time we've got competitive. Yeah, but I know we're not going to be World Cup champions every year. No, so I don't mind it's being done based off playoff standings, because I know that we're not always going to be in that position every single year. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For me, it was kind of a little shock they actually did what they did with the draft order. There was a sort of like, okay, yeah, I think that is a lot fairer. Is it good for us going into next Tuesday? No, because as Ladies pointed out, we are going to be the last of the inaugural 6 teams to make a pick, which is not great. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's a more fairer system, and you'll look at that and go, well, we're gonna have some really competitive roster moves. Particularly as how the inaugural 6 are going to need to use this draft next week to try and replenish what they've lost. Yeah. Whereas Vancouver and Seattle are looking to bolster up their rosters. Unless they were also doing free agency. Well, Vancouver has. Oh, I bet, because a lot of people do think Seattle was in a better position at the end of last week than Vancouver was. So I think Vancouver's heard that and thought, right, we need to splash the cash. Well, yeah, because they've got, oh, a lot to go for, isn't it? Yep. But they clearly thought we need to splash the cash, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, so actually, I'm fine with this. I'm actually really fine with this draft order. I think it's a lot more fairer. I can't believe it's only 6 rounds. I would have thought it would have been 7. I know, right? Because if you go look at that eligibility list that got dropped while we were in Philly, there's definitely enough for 7 rounds. But of course, we don't make the rules. We just report them and air our feelings about them. But no, I think this is a decent draft order, and I think interested to see how it plays out next week. Of course, to see what all teams are going to do, especially given how we've had the expansion process already in full swing. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Okay, so we'll just remind you of the details. So the PWHL Entry Draft will be taking place in Ottawa next Tuesday. So that is Tuesday the 24th of June, 2025 at 7 PM Eastern. So that is 4 PM Pacific. Yeah, 4 PM Pacific. Midnight here in the UK, so it's going to be another long night for us, but that's fine. We will have the sodas on standby. Yeah, as well. Yeah. Maybe hot chocolate as well. Yeah, I need to check out my stocks for that. Because I definitely remember when we did the expansion draft, I was feeling quite sleepy before it was going on. So I thought, I need to get a hot chocolate to try and keep myself awake. And it worked! Yeah, and it worked. So yeah. No, very, very exciting. You're really excited for the bench drop there. I really am, because it's going to be interesting to see, how it's going to go down with the 8 teams in. And of course, obviously, we're going to host it. So I'm really excited for it. Even though, as you said, well, after that, the long summer then begins. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, no, I'm really looking forward to it. So interesting. Yeah. And of course, yeah, she's so excited, she's about to fall off again! She's about to fall off again! It's the hurts! Yeah, yeah, we will of course also, record a draft recap show. These two are debating whether or not they're going to come on. They're going to see how they feel after, at the draft next Tuesday, because it might just be me. Was it just me last year? I think it was probably just you last year. I'll double check that. But they're still going to think about it. They're going to about it. Of course, obviously, they've also got the AHL draft in Alexa. We're hosting! They're hosting! The Kings are hosting this year's draft in the AHL. So that's pretty soon. Probably got things elsewhere to focus on. But they're going to think about that after next Tuesday. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that is now all the details that you need for the PWHL Entry Draft 2025.